And hello and welcome back. This is RamosComics with another unpacking video. This was filmed back in November 2018.
At my door, and um, let's get to open it. This is just covering the address. You guys don't need to see that. So it is put into one of these priority mailers. Um, it looks all right. Looks like it got dinged here. So hopefully the comic book's okay. It feels like there's a good amount of cardboard on it. There is two comic books. It's something I ordered from eBay. And let's get to opening it. As many of you may know who've been watching my videos, I've been buying a few comic books off of eBay. I also sell books on eBay, but the few that I've been buying is to fill holes in my collection. And the ones that I've been buying are not in the greatest condition, but they basically are to fill the holes. So let's see. So it's between cardboard. Looks like the cardboard is dent here, but that might have been before it got put in. So it has one, two, good, six pieces of cardboard. The comics are connected to the cardboard, so it doesn't shift. The cardboard are in wonderful condition. That means I'll reuse them, recycle them, and let's see. They're nice and thick, so hopefully the book should be fine. Um, it was taped to the cardboard so they wouldn't move. Let's see where the tape is. Um, they used some thick shipping tape. Take that completely away from the books to keep the books safe. I usually try to remove all the tape entirely. There's also tape on the bag to seal the book shut, which is fine. But when I open up those, I also remove those tapes and re-put the books into new bags and boards. So, the first book we see here is Amazing Spider-Man number 30. It's the first appearance of the cat burglar, I think, or something to that effect. Um, Artwork by Steve Ditko, written by Stan Lee. I do have a copy of this book. But the price that I saw it for on eBay, I could not pass it up, so I figured let me get a separate copy. Um, I could figure out which one is better, and the better one I will keep in my collection. And the other one, how did they tape this? Oh, okay, now I see. Actually, one piece of tape to cover both. I'll get rid of that. And the other book is Amazing Spider-Man number 38. Now, this looks familiar is because I had purchased it fairly recently from this one, and I did not realize that I had already got it. This is the one that I got, and I already did the unboxing of this one a little while ago. And so now I have two copies of the same book. Um, which isn't a bad thing. What I may do is figure out which one looks the better, keep that one for the collection, and use the other one to either trade or sell, flip, or something. Because I also sell books on eBay, or just keep it. Um, this one looks like the better copy, cover wise. I haven't looked inside yet, but here I have just a guy named Joe. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 38, written by Stan Lee, drawn by Steve Ditko, and this was the last issue of Steve Ditko. So this was what he did, and then left Marvel, never to draw Spider-Man again. He had come back to Marvel, and he's drawn other characters, um, but he never went back to Spider-Man. So as you can see, the interior, the pages look pretty good. They are definitely off-white. You can see the cover is falling apart a bit. But the interior pages look great. Um, as I mentioned, it's cream, definitely way off white, but again, a good looking book will fill that hole, or would have filled that hole in my collection if I didn't have another book already. Um, when I get off camera, I'll look through it again with a more of a keen eye. But so far, it looks great. The book is falling apart a bit. Um, but again, it's very nice, pretty much how it was on eBay. I don't recall what I charged for shipping, but the book itself cost me just either $17 or just a little over 17.50. One was $17 and one was 17.50. They were both from the same seller, and then it was put together and shipped together. So with the shipping, I only paid probably $6 with shipping or something like that. So basically, pretty much to fill the holes. Now, this one I also own, um, but I think this one's a better condition. This will do good to be to fix the spine roll. Um, I've seen online how to fix it. So, oh, the back looks great too. You know, this is spiral. It happens in the old books, but from what I understand, it can be fixed. I saw some people online who's done it, and it's one of the things where it's basically need to put this back into the center so the book will lie more flat. There's some dog ears here, so this could use a good. This will benefit from pressing. Uh, some stuff that I read about that as well. With pressing, there is some gadgets that would be needed, um, which has to deal with weight and uh, a machine to press it. Um, I've seen some people use an iron to do that type of thing. Um, so I'm gonna. One of the reasons why I got this book was basically to see if I can actually press it myself. Some people have been doing that. Again, right now, just fixing the dog ears. The book looks really good. Again, cream colored, definitely off white. Um, but the art looks sharp. As if the pages aren't faded. Um, and hopefully all the pages are there. One of the first things you have to do when you get books is to go through them page by page. Make sure nothing's been cut out, because the longer you wait, the harder it would be to refund it and get your money back. It has happened where if you're not paying attention, you may buy a book that is completely damaged and not realize it, until the page is gone. You may not the page. I'm sorry. This corner piece is gone. Um, you may buy a comic book and not realize that the coupon may have been cut out and used, or someone liked this image and cut it completely out. So you have to be careful with that. You have to make sure when you're buying these old books, and the seller may not even realize that the book is missing a part of it, because they may have bought it, put it right into their collection, and never really looked at it again and just happened to sell it on eBay. So far, everything looks good. And like I said, I want to attempt to fix that spine roll. Um, Sometimes they'll bring, and you can see where it was bent here. So this cover went through some beating. People read their books. Some people take care of them better than others. I've read all my books multiple times, so um, they're not in the greatest condition. But again, it's part of me is to, can I complete this collection? When I started when I started in comics, collecting comics, it was the 80s, and I was just happy to have the comic books. Um, then I started collecting them and I started getting older issues. I was happy with this. Spider-Man was my favorite superhero, still is. And when I read his books, I enjoyed them so much that I read everything that came out with Spider-Man. So it started with Amazing Spider-Man, then I read Peter Parker Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man. Those are the books that were out in the 80s, and Marvel Tales. and Marvel Tales of Spider-Man were reprint books. So I was happy that I read these stories in the reprint books. So I never really had to have them. So when I was collecting the first, I would say the first 50 to the first 100 books, I have them in some form of reprint or another. Marvel Masterworks, Marvel Tales. Marvel Tales would restart the series over again from the beginning. So I read, I believe, every Amazing Spider-Man comic book at some point or another, especially the early day stuff. Um, but now I'm going back and picking and choosing and collecting the Silver Age books, trying to see maybe I can get all of the Steve Ditko, um, Stan Lee run. Maybe not because after certain issues they're very expensive. So paying something like $17 for a beat up book because I'm just happy to have the physical book. I've been enjoying them, and as I said, I'm going to see if maybe I could do a little bit of fixing the spine on it, pressing it a little bit. That's all I could really do. I can't replace things, and I know there are ways to restore books, but I don't want to do that. I think the books are fine the way they are. Um, especially that if it's possible that I'll keep the better copy and resell the other one. Maybe if I don't get a copy, like let's say with this one, is really falling apart. Let's say I enjoy the copy. I don't plan to resell it. Maybe I would do the restoration, get the rice paper and stuff like that that are done with other books. But I don't know if it would be something that I would do. But I am interested, as I said, in pressing just to see how good this would go. And of course, I'll try to record it to show what's going on. And what I did for pressing is something that you could do yourself. It's a type of, I don't want to use the word restoration because that has, in the comic collecting biz, that seems to have a bad taste in people. But a fixing a spine roll is allowed. It's one of those things where if you go for the books that are going to be put into the slabs, the CBC, I believe it's called, or something like that. I don't have a slab book. Um, those have a particular rating. They're put into these, back up, lack of a better term, comic book coffins because you can't read them. Comic books were meant to be read. I think that if it's what you want to do, that's perfectly fine. Um, by grading them and having that kind of grade, you do protect the comic book in that way. And by doing the pressing, it might actually raise the grade up a little bit, which would raise the volume up a little bit. The value, not the volume. So that's pretty much it. So here are my two new books, Amazing Spider-Man number 30 and Amazing Spider-Man number 38. They look good. I hope you enjoy these videos. Please come back to see more. Like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. This way here you'll get to know when we put up the new videos. And as Stan would say, Excelsior! A nice little stand that I think HeroClix made it. I found it in a bargain store that had toys. I've never seen it before, and I picked it up, and I was like, look at that. It's a little stand. So I have them on my art desk looking over as I make comics also. Well, thanks again for watching.
And remember, keep drawing.